I wonder what's on TV. I don't know.
I've got something I've got something I'll share with you, share with you, share. What I want from you. And when you speak, I want every word to be straight from the lips of God.
Violence and natural death. Human accomplishments. These are part of every news story.
Look at you now talking trash, my reputation you are trying to crash. But let me ask you in turn why, and what it is you are trying to burn. Because you seem to be the authoritative figure, know it all about me. Well, let us just see. Therefore, I'll just slip into my dark side, the unspeakable that people always hide, a place where I can be jaded from memories that have not faded. Look at you, how small you must feel, dumping on the heart that you reel, stringing people along for just a ride, thinking it will make you content on the inside. Well, you are my mirror image. You are my mirror image. What you call and tell about me is turned or will turn back on you to be. That is the ultimate evil that people don't want to see. That what you tell about me, what you don't like about me, what you dislike about my persona, thinking you can get away with it acting like a prima donna? Well, let me tell you something though, your mind is petty, puny, and so slow to say these things and not know the consequences of your hurtful words. While you're squalling down here with the pigs, it is my soul that is flying with the birds. So go ahead and make a little gossip, but first let me give you a golden tip. Those nasty words that you're saying about me are coming out of your filthy mouth. Verbal diarrhea, now that looks nasty coming out. What, you didn't like my tip and you're going to pout because I just put you in your lowly place? Well, remember my face, because my truthful words are your curse, and now you and everyone else knows it.
And now we'll take you to this week's artist profile.
A childhood interest in modern painting, and a photographer father allowed Steve Harlow to experience art throughout his Los Angeles, California upbringing. Although throwing paint around the garage floor was too much for his mother, young Steve was allowed to draw large abstract patterns and colored chalk in the cement driveway of the working class family's home in Southgate. And then as 13-year-old Steve met writer Lawrence Lipton, who one day asked him to draw a chalk drawing on the cement outside the famous beat performance cafe, The Gaslight. Throughout 5 decades, Steve Harlow has attempted to synthesize the New York and San Francisco schools of painting and further his work through the use of photography as a painting tool.
Hi, we're here with artist Steve Harlow. Steve, my first question is, could you give us a little overview of your history, how you got started painting?
Yeah, I was always a painter. Used to draw as a kid and draw in the sand, draw with chalk on cement, and that was painting to me. I think I first encountered paint in kindergarten and didn't like it much, but I knew I was an artist. My whole life has been about deciding what that meant, you know, being an artist. It has taken very, very many forms during my life.
There was a phrase in your website that describes your approach to art as man as nature. Could you explain that?
Yes. There's always, in the past, been a conflict about whether art is interpreting nature, imitating nature. I think of art as being nature, and man is nature is just a way of saying that there can't possibly be anything on this earth that's not natural, and all processes of man-made activities are natural activities and are a part of nature.
Do you feel, I'm not sure whether this plays into what you're saying, but do you feel that art is any more relevant whether the message is consciously constructed or is something unconscious that the artist doesn't really understand as they make it? Does that bear to the relevance of it to you?
Yeah, it does a lot, because I think that if the message is conscious, it's not, the art is not full enough. Like, art really needs to be both conscious and unconscious. And the message is in the process, and the message is in the viewer. The message is in the time and place of witnessing or participating in the art. So the message is always important. It should be there. You should know what you want to be doing. But you can't ever define it completely. And it's always open for things that seem outside of the world of thought, really, more in the world of physical action.
Can you give us an overview of your current project, The Ghost Dance?
Yeah, The Ghost Dance is a project that Ruth and I started as a collaboration, a way of painting together. And we envisioned a very large multimedia event, which really we don't have enough time to do ourselves, so we want to invite other people to help us out, actually. We've put it on the internet now as a way of recruiting people to participate in making work that is associated with our Ghost Dance project. The Ghost Dance is about making life-size figures, or figures that represent yourself as a ghost dancer, as a ghost dancer. And then having those figures cut in pieces, really, and interchanged with other people's figures of themselves as a metaphor for how we all belong to life on Earth here. We all have the same patterns of biological life, and that there's a flow of energy, a flow of materials that manifests our being. So we would expect people to manifest their ghost dance image, and then allow that image to be dispersed and interchanged with other people's images that they've made in a similar way.
An element of the original Ghost Dance was the idea of visions building on visions. Can you explain that further?
Yeah, it's a very full story, very sad story, but it's basically based on hope, and that's the part of it that we want to concentrate on. It's the ghost dancers in the late 19th century would stand in a circle all facing each other, and they would shuffle around singing songs that came from one person's vision until they went into a trance. That person, if someone fell into a trance, they would normally fall down on the ground. They'd go unconscious for a while, and the leader of the ghost dance would bring them back to consciousness and ask them to explain their vision. The leader would then put that vision in the form of a song, and the group of people would sing songs based on that person's vision until the next person fell out, had another vision, and that became the song. And these dances would go on for days and days, and the ideas associated with them, building on one person's vision, building on another person's vision, the ideas became very elaborate. It was quite a beautiful ceremony, and it was very taxing and tiring, but focusing. it was misinterpreted by the white settlers around, who were pretty much ignorant and afraid of what the Indians might be doing with this dance, and it was very threatening to the white settlers, and the military, the government pretty much squashed all who participated in it. We'd like now to resurrect some of the form, and particularly the hopefulness that they felt in performing this ceremony, and try to translate that into art now.
I understand the ghost dance has a relationship to the story of Wounded Knee, which a lot of people have heard of.
Yeah, it does. Very tragic one. One of the ideas that developed out of the ghost dance in this elaborate way of people's building on other people's ideas, they began to feel like if clothing was designed in certain ways, had certain symbols on them for shirts that they'd wear in the dances or dresses, that those designs and the thought that went into them would make the clothing invulnerable to white men's bullets. The Indians wearing shirts like that with the concept that they wouldn't be killed by bullets were a little more willing to put themselves in a situation where they could be shot at by the military. And one of those was Sitting Bull's people at Wounded Knee. Sitting Bull, incidentally, had gotten interested in the ghost dance after he came back from Europe and North America touring with the Wild Bill Cody Wild West show. Then got into the ghost dance and became, got his people involved in the ghost dance movement. And they were a separate group that was being chased by the military, and they got surrounded, and the people felt that they would be protected by the ghost dance shirts and dresses that they were wearing, and of course they weren't. They were mowed down by automatic weapons.
For people out there who would be interested in participating in your ghost dance project, how would they go about it?
They could go to ghostdancers.com, check out what we've done there, and we'll have instructions on how they can make their own ghost dancers images that can be used in that project. They can also, once they understand the format, and if they're interested, they can make their own ghost dance on their own websites, and we'll participate with them.
Is it open to different forms of art?
Ultimately, the internet version is only open to what we can get on the web right now, but in ultimate sense, our project envisions sculpture and performance, installation, theater, film, all the forms of art that we know about, as well as the painting, which we started. So people and music as well. People from any form of art can do art that will interrelate to this project if they choose.
From the echoes in St. Peter's Square, a hotel in Washington.
It's a great public comment on the nuclear disaster, and Noble will tell you what he had to say. He's harassed and subjugated and tortured his wife.
The old man was drunk, fell down, hit his head on
Hi, I'm Heather, and I'm with band members Caesar Pink and drummer Mina.
Welcome to the Imperial Orgy's Outsider Video Showcase.
Tonight we're going to show you a video by a ska band from New York. They're called The Motives, and they're really neat.
Now for your viewing pleasure, The Motives.
Everybody gets what they deserve. 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 I am a man and a man is made to live a land free like the sun. Give me the food and let me go on. Are you the president? Then time for judgment. Got a killing of the innocent could never be pleasant. And if there's a chance, I want a chance. It is this one from my brethren, and all of my sistren. I'm gonna sing on this song, I'm so dead. Out to my feet. When my eyes are open up, I'm so dead. Out my feet.
When you whisper in my phone, and I hear your melody, my ignorance is gone, and I find a harmony. When I hear the things you say, and I know I'm not alone, then it's in your soul. There's a time when you want me to say those things to me.
I say things over. How many times I have to say
over and over again.
The Imperial Orgy's performances are a multimedia circus for the senses that recaptures the original free spirit of rock and roll. To give you an idea of how beloved the Imperial Orgy is to fans everywhere, we sent a camera crew out into the streets of Middle America to get the public's reaction to the group's performances.
something I wouldn't like, it's something I wouldn't approve of.
I gotta be thrown out of the country, and I'd buy him a one-way ticket.
It just shouldn't happen at all. Should be thrown the hell out of the country.
It's just not right.
I'd kick their ass. Gotta be shot.
Well, there are some people who love the imperial orgy.
14 dogs and a bucket full of rain.
The group began in the Penn State University Film Department when Caesar Pink told drummer Mina Dada of his frustrations with the blandness of popular music and the art scene in general.
From day one, the plan was to give ourselves total creative freedom, not only musically, but also by incorporating whatever art forms we wanted into the performances. Being that 4 of us are filmmakers, it was natural that we would add film and video to the show. But Lila and Samantha are both dancers. We make use of surreal fashions and outrageous costumes. And Caesar's sense of theatricality pulls it all together into a cohesive concept.
For me, the visual elements to the show are tools to help the audience understand the meaning of the music. I feel like we're getting away with murder artistically. Often, mainstream audiences won't listen to music that doesn't follow the formula of the latest trend. But people at orgy shows seem to be having so much fun that they open their minds to a lot of musical styles they normally wouldn't listen to. So really, the visual show allows us to have more artistic freedom musically.
And fun is a big part of what the imperial orgy is all about. Although their music often deals with serious emotional and political subject matter, they present these things with an element of tongue-in-cheek humor.
So many of today's grunge and alternative bands take themselves too dreadfully seriously. People seem to have forgotten that rock and roll is supposed to be fun. We try to inject a healthy dose of fun and adventure back into pop music.
At imperial orgy shows, audiences are pulled into the performances, literally seduced into taking part. Despite being shy, jaded, or just too cool to let go in public, fans lose themselves in the moment and the sense of community at orgy shows.
I think one of the things that makes me happiest is to see people let go who normally wouldn't. Often people tell us the first time they've ever danced in public is at an orgy show. We try to bring the social outcast into the community, as well as the beautiful people. You'll see people who are freaks, fat, geeks, anyone and everyone with gleeful smiles on their faces as they cut loose with us. For me, that's what makes it all worthwhile. In the absence of an event, invent one.
Jamaican-born drummer Mina Dada is a student of African and Caribbean rhythms. His solid drumming style and full-tilt stage presence are the band's backbone. Mina is also an accomplished artist whose paintings have been seen in several New York galleries. Bassist Kaiki Dago is a musical virtuoso and a hyper-energetic performer. His love of his instrument has led him to explore endless variations on the bass guitar, including the 6-string electric, the electric upright, fretless, and MIDI basses. Keyboardist Isabel is a classically trained pianist and composer who also adds the electronic wizardry of synthesizers and digital sampling to the group. Isabel also creates her own new age and meditation music. Guitarist Tony Cox studied music at the New York University. His amazing versatility allows the band to authentically delve into any musical territory, and his over-the-top stage persona and humorous costumes keeps fans smiling. Samantha D. studied dance on the tropical islands of the South Pacific. Her cool, sexy stage demeanor and vocal precision are at the orgy's forefront. Samantha also helps tailor the group's costumes and is one of the band's 4 filmmakers, often directs Imperial Orgy video projects. Lila is a student of ballet and African dance. On stage, she emotes a sensual warmth with her energetic dance and bold vocal style. Lila can also be found behind the potter's wheel, where she creates her unique works in clay. Caeser Pink, the band's vocalist and songwriter, also conceptualizes the overall presentations. His emotional intensity and raw energy connect with audiences on a vital level. Painter, writer, and filmmaker, Caeser, with the Imperial Orgy, pulls his interest in many mediums together into a single explosive form.
We'll be right back after this uncommercial break.
The Campbell's Soup Company is proud to announce our newest recipe, Cream of Caesar Soup. It's delicious in the tummy and tickles your tongue until you say, good. So fill your mouth with the one and only flavor of Caesar Pink, Cream of Caesar Soup. Swallow, if you can.
Now it's time for a record review. Jewel's new album, Spirit, reminds us that Jewel is an extraordinary vocalist, not just the girlish singer as demonstrated on her other mega hit, You Were Meant for Me. Here, she captures moments big and small, from a soaring falsetto to a hushed whisper.
Does anybody have a copy of I'm Okay, You're Okay?
On the solo acoustic Fat Boy, her hushed delivery adds weight to a tender character study. On the muscular Down So Long, Jewel goes full throttle and also delivers one throaty note in the chorus that alone makes...
I prefer Nighto.
Jewel also has a new book of poetry which displays her true emotional depth and sensitivity.
Keep that shit in your high school journal, sweetie.
Okay, that's it! Either he goes or I go. A more band-like collection, Spirit is impressive in arrangement as well. Warm, dense, and graceful, this is pop music at its most organic. Thus, ultimately, Spirit is a rewarding bit of creative expanse by an artist whose rapid and huge success could have squashed her right in her path. I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?